Hey friends, welcome to the Canyon Pathways podcast, where we invite you to live like a son and lead like a father. Canyon Pathways is a global community of men on the journey from the striving of servanthood to the freedom of sonship as we traverse the canyon that is midlife leadership. My name is Noel and I'm the founder and part of the leadership team for this venture, and I'll be your guide throughout this podcast as we explore and discover what it means to live like a son so we can lead like a compassionate father. Welcome to this episode of the podcast. Glad to be with you and eager to jump into our topic. We got two types of episodes here at the Canyon Pathways podcast. The first is like this episode, what we call a field note episode, where we're looking at one of our field note essays that is a dive into a word that we believe embodies a concept that's central to this journey into sonship and living like a son of God. Second type of episode is a conversation episode where one of our team members sits down with a Canyon Pathways brother, a leader from somewhere around the world, and they not only invite us into their story, but also share their insight and wisdom into this topic a little bit further. So next episode, we're going to have Kumar's Chasm Zeta coming into the studio with us to sit down with Luke Smith. It's going to be an incredible conversation. They're going to not only look at Kumar's journey into sonship and how the Father has guided him through his life, but also look at this issue of confidence, which is the topic we're looking at today in this field note, confidence. Confidence is a tricky concept for many of us in midlife leadership. For some of us, we're lacking confidence, confidence that we feel like we should have at this point in midlife. That could be because of the current struggles we're going through, could be because of a relationship ending, a business failure, financial reversal, physical injury or limitation or illness. Could be the continuing unresolved pain of abuse or abandonment earlier in our life. All these things affect, possibly diminish what we think of as our confidence. And for some of us, in this community, this has been a long journey. For some of us, it's new, where there once was confidence tied perhaps to some success or achievements over the years. Now there's a new challenge that is rattling us. Could be a new season of life, could be loss of loved one, loss of intimacy and closeness with others as the demands of leadership increase and the duties start piling up and we feel duty bound. I was just speaking just a couple of days ago to a CP brother who's leading a company and talked about the loneliness in the leadership right now, how he has to, as he put it, mask up as he goes in through his day, starting with his family and then into managing his company and working with colleagues and prospects and clients. Can't be vulnerable with others anymore like he used to, like he could in his 20s, 30s, early 40s. Now, late 40s, 50s, the demands are there. The leadership is isolated because he can't show vulnerability. Can't do that. Why? Because we're trying to be responsible, hold it together, lead others. And when we show vulnerability, we fear it's going to shake others. It's going to rattle them. It's going to oppress them, burden them in a way that we're supposed to be shielding them from as a leader. And that has its own isolating reality. And that's a difference from perhaps previous years, even in the same venture, where in a different time, a different season of that venture, different maybe leadership role or the way that's been crafted, we were more shoulder to shoulder with people, which had its own sense of intimacy and there was adventure in it and we were open and we could be vulnerable. But now we can't. And that can rattle our confidence as it is with this brother I'm referring to and as I've experienced. So leadership is an isolating place. And of course, in midlife, even more so, because we're in the canyon, the valley of midlife. It's tough. It's a grind. We weren't expecting it. We thought maybe we'd have arrived by now. We'd have even the ease and the accolades that we had looked for. But now we're feeling maybe disappointed. This isn't where I felt like I'm supposed to be, how I'm supposed to be feeling. That shakes what we think of as our confidence, especially when we've been trained and groomed by society around us to be confident, to achieve successes, and then feel even more confident. As we come out of those successes and accomplishments and achievements, we've been taught and discipled to have confidence in God, to confidently cast all upon the Lord, see his provision and intervention around us. But we walk through a shadowy valley, and that begins to wane. And our self-confidence, even in our faith, ebbs even more. So how do we address that? How do we think about that? Well, as we are wont to do here in the Canyon Pathways community, we're going to look at the word itself. We're going to dive into it. So let's jump right into our field note on confidence. Confidence. We do not so much need the help of our friends as we do the confidence of their help in need. Epicurus. If you're at least as old as I am, it's probably difficult to hear the phrase confidence is and not have Jack Palance's voice echoing somewhere in the back of your brain. A testament to Madison Avenue's influence on my childhood, to be sure. Not to be outdone, Hollywood has just as strong a claim, demonstrated by the fact that when I think of confident celebrities, right behind sports stars like Mr. October, Montana, and MJ, is none other than that archetypal symbol of cinematic self-assurance, George McFly. From a groveling subordinate at the beginning of the tale to a suave and successful self-made man in the end, George is utterly transformed by the butterfly effect of his son's time travel odyssey, which accidentally instills a dose of self-esteem into an otherwise timid teenager at just the right moment. Once he realizes he can stand up to the bully, it becomes a habit that changes the trajectory of his life, his family, his entire community. Confidence is very sci-fi, with apologies to the men's personal care industry. The McFly journey from slacker to superstar captures something many of us have experienced, a phenomenon that can occur in almost every area of life, the belief that once we've done something, we can do it again. Whether it's punching your first bully, finishing your first race, landing your first client, closing your first deal, or making it through your first insert particular type of crisis. Once we've done something, we believe we can replicate the feat. It's why experience is so crucial in times of testing. Someone who's previously prevailed in crunch time can say in the huddle, "Let's go, we've got this. We've been in this position before, and we can get it done again." We come to believe that confidence brashly says, to quote Keyshawn, "Just give me the damn ball." Why? Because we've been thrown the metaphorical pigskin before and have caught it, often with noteworthy results. To be, or not to be, confident, we think, is to believe in one's own ability based upon past performance. But what if it's not? To really understand confidence and why it's so valuable, it helps to look at related terms. Words like confide, confidant, confidential, confidentiality, these begin to broaden our perspective, taking the concept out of simply self-assurance and into the realm of trust, of belief in the reliability of someone outside of self. This is borne out by the elements of the word, which is derived from the Latin confidentia, meaning to have full trust or reliance in another. It's formed through the combination of com, with, together, and fidere, to trust. English words with the same root, interestingly, are terms like fiduciary and fidelity, both meaning trustworthiness or a trustworthy relationship. It's why the pain of infidelity is so deep. It is the loss of trust and security in that most intimate of relationships. It also highlights the difference between a confidence, something shared privately, and a secret, from a Latin root meaning to divide. The former, something that strengthens trust and unites. The latter, something that separates and divides. All of this helps us understand the true nature of confidence. It is inherently relational, and it grows through time-tested and hence increasingly trustworthy relationships. Confidence, it turns out, is more about belief in others than it is belief in ourselves. And that could be game-changing for us. Because while self-assurance might believe we'll make the catch when the ball is thrown our way, it does nothing by itself to foster the belief that our team will actually be victorious. Only confidence, together trusting others, believes that someone else will make the call, the throw, the block, the kick, the tackle that are all necessary to win the game. Indeed, it could be, in this analysis, that self-confidence is an oxymoron and more akin to self-importance. or worse, merely a form of self-delusion. But to live like a son is to live in abiding confidence. A son always trusts, always believes that he is seen and known, that he's covered, that no matter what crisis or conflict arises, he will be supported and defended, that he has access to both present resources as well as prepared inheritance. He boldly proclaims that promises will be kept by one who is always faithful. And that son is the one who will lead like a father, in whom others will rejoice that they can place their confidence, their trust, that come what may, he will faithfully show up, reach out, and invest in the ones in his care. This is our calling, to be present, to be faithful, to be true, and in so doing, to be a vessel of the redemption that a good father is already preparing. In that, we can be confident. Therefore, let us draw near with confidence to the throne of grace, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Hebrews 4:16. Friends, hope you enjoyed that field note and are already taking some things away from it. Here's 3 takeaways as I reflect back on the discoveries that we made in that exploration. 3 main ones. The first one is this: confidence, at least as we imagine it to be, can be born out of individual experience. We looked at the Back to the Future example where George McFly learns that he can handle the bully. He can handle Biff in the new timeline because he did decades before, after the intervention of his son. He did it. So he can do it again. And the experience provides the knowledge that the thing can be done and that I can do it. The problem seems to be for many of us, especially midlife leadership, that the cumulative impact of many I can do this experiences over the years and decades begins to isolate us now. And it begins morphing into something else, from I can do this to I have to do this. I must do this. Only I can do this. That's when we begin to be alone, to feel alone. And in our leadership isolation, almost unwittingly begin to isolate those around us, those who we were once close to and open with. And this would seem to create a crisis of confidence, you might say, not simply individually, but conceptually, questioning the very idea of confidence as such in the first place, until we come to the second finding in the field note, which is that confidence is inherently relational. It literally means to have full trust or reliance in another. It's formed through that combination of with, together, and fidere, to trust. We get these English words like we looked at: fidelity, fiduciary, all meaning trustworthiness in relationship. It's only in that experience of confidence, the experience of together trusting, of walking with others who we are trusting each other in that we really begin to experience the true essence of confidence. And that might be, part of what many of us are experiencing in midlife leadership is, for the first few decades of life, you're always experiencing it, or usually, except for those of us who've experienced really profound abuse or abandonment by those around us. Many of us experience that together trusting. It was started perhaps in the family, and then it was, the friendships that you experience through the school years, through adolescence, and perhaps athletics or other activities where there's a shared endeavor, and you're walking together for months and months on end, maybe in a fraternity, even the early stages of a job. You're knit together with the other people in your cohort who are just starting off and moving through your 20s, and then they hit your 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, 40s, and all of a sudden, all of these I can do it moments, again, the experience, the knowledge base, the skill sets, we start leading in them and from them. And that begins to create this sense of isolation. And then this idea of confidence devolves into solely I can do it. I must do it. I have to do it. Only I can do it. I can't even trust anyone else. I can't delegate. I can't talk to anyone about what I'm going through. But in the beginning, there was a togetherness. And perhaps that's what we're being invited back to. My sonship journey, a big part of it when we launched Canyon Pathways was this idea of going back to relationships that are already there. Canyon Pathways was birthed out of reconnection with relationships from earlier seasons of life, and out of those connections from existing relationships that maybe had waned a bit. We hadn't talked, we hadn't walked together for years, coming back together out of that, new relationships. And because the new relationships came out of the trusted relationships that were being rekindled, there was an even quicker forming of trust, of bonds, of confidence in these relationships. That's what we're experiencing in the Canyon Pathways community. And that's, to me, a picture of what this idea of confidence really is. It's not that I can do it. It's that we will do it. And by the way, we will continue to do it. That's the essence of Psalm 23. We're walking, following a shepherd, believing in him. He will do it. He is the shepherd. He is there. He's not looking out for me. He's shepherding me through a valley of shadow. But by the way, he's not just shepherding me. He's shepherding a whole flock. And I'm a part of that flock. And no matter how much the challenges and the threats and the pitfalls and the uncertainties of this valley of shadow that are trying to isolate me out from that flock, from that group, from that community, I believe by looking at him that I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm with others, and I can come back to them, and I can have confidence in that. That begins to move us to the third takeaway, which is the confidence we have as a son, the confidence of sonship, an abiding confidence that we are not a hired hand. We're not a servant who's going to be cast out if we don't get the contract done. Or we're not a hired hand who the contract's going to end. There's a term. And once that term is up, who knows what's next? No, we're a son. And as a son, an heir. And as an heir, we can always trust that there is a father who sees us, who knows us, who's covered us. Indeed, one who's already prepared an inheritance. That's why we're an heir, because an inheritance has been prepared for us. And that all the challenges we're walking through now, they're all moving us toward that inheritance, toward that experience. More importantly, perhaps, they're pointing us to that table of fellowship, that table of celebration, that table of sonship that's been prepared right there in the midst of the threats, in the midst of the darkness of the valley, right there. Not just the greener pasture that's to come, the table that's made, set, prepared for us right now, right in this valley. That's what we come back to. That's what's on offer to us as sons. Father's already prepared it, prepared the way through the valley, prepared the table right here in the valley for us as sons, as a son among other sons of a good father. In that, we can be confident. Friends, hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you get all of our episodes as they drop, including our next one, which you don't want to miss. We're going to continue looking at this concept of confidence through a conversation between Luke Smith and Kumars Kazimzada from the Canyon Pathways community. You don't want to miss that, so subscribe. Check out the show notes for links as well as a PDF with discussion questions if you'd like to use this episode for personal reflection or in small group meetings. Subscribe, as always, so you get all these episodes. We're continuing to develop a language of sonship through the Canyon Pathways podcast. Thanks to the team at Maroon Harpoon for producing this episode, to our donors who make this venture possible, and as always, thank you for being a part of this Canyon Pathways community as we together live like sons and lead like fathers.